One of the Parkland High School students who survived the mass shooting that took place last year has taken her own life over the weekend. Sydney Aiello is her name, and her mom said that she had been suffering from serious post-traumatic stress disorder following the mass shooting that took place. Parkland students have done an incredible job being out there and advocating for gun safety, but the sadness and distress are still there, and that's according to Victor Schwartz, who's the chief medical officer. I'm sure many of these students are still undergoing or struggling with symptoms that look like PTSD, and how could they not be? So this is so incredibly devastating, and it's something that I want everyone to keep in mind when they feel the need to attack some of these survivors because they speak out against the gun laws that we currently have in the United States. Just understand that they've gone through something so traumatic. So while you might disagree with them on policy proposals and gun legislation, just have a little compassion in your heart for what they've just gone through, because they are still struggling with some of the PTSD as a result of this. Also, I wanna note that there are resources out there. If you've considered anything like this, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. Text TALK to 741-741 or visit speakingofsuicide.com/resources to get help.
So there's this thing called survivor's guilt, and it happens in the military as well. It happens in a lot of deeply traumatic situations. And in this case, one of Sydney's close friends, Meadow Pollock, was one of the victims in Parkland, and she had been killed. And so her mom was saying, Sydney's mom was saying that she was struggling in college now because she was literally afraid to go into classrooms. And all that is understandable. I'm sure that Anna's call for civility in this case and decency towards victims will largely go unheeded by the people who don't agree with them politically. But this is a real phenomenon, and it happens far too often. Unfortunately, the suicide rate among veterans is sky high, and we also need to address that. And now, rationally, should it happen? Of course not. I mean, it's not Sydney's fault. She had, nothing to do with the shooting, and survivor's guilt is not a rational thing. It's a psychological phenomenon that takes over you, despite everyone's best efforts. And it's related to post-traumatic stress disorder. So you should get more information on it from the places that we just told you about. But unfortunately, the victims of this horrible massacre continue to mount now a little bit more than a year later.
And I think that's important to keep in mind because, of course, these shootings happen, it immediately gets politicized, everybody goes to their corners, everyone's yelling at each other. And I feel like there just isn't enough consideration for the victims' families, people who had just lost family members as a result of these shootings, but also the people who survived, the people who witnessed their own peers get gunned down, their own teachers get gunned down. Understand what that must be like and what they must be going through. If anything, they need support. Even if you disagree with them politically, it's fine to disagree with them politically, but at least support them in not, sharing ridiculous conspiracy theories about them. I mean, the things that you saw on Fox News following the shooting and the way that these individuals have been painted as crisis actors. I mean, they get re-victimized following the shooting. And it's something that we need to really have a strong conversation about and stop doing.
Two easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.